All right, so today we're jumping into a really mind-bending book, Yuval Noah Harari's Homo Deus. Seriously, this one's a trip. It's all about where we're headed as a species, a future where we basically try to upgrade ourselves into gods. Yeah, godlike. So let's just dive right in. Okay, so Harari starts with a fact that just stops you in your tracks. Think about this. For most of us listening, you're now more likely to die from eating too much than from not having enough to eat. I mean, wow. For thousands and thousands of years, our biggest enemies were starvation, sickness, things we couldn't control. And now, we pretty much got them beat. That's a huge, huge shift in the entire story of humanity. So the big question becomes, now what? We solved the old problem, so what's next? Well, we're certainly not just kicking back and relaxing. Harari says we've already got a new agenda, a much, much more ambitious one that's going to completely change the game for our future. So let's just take a second to really let this sink in. For pretty much all of history, these three things, famine, plague, and war, they ran the show. They were the human condition. People didn't see them as problems to be solved. They were just facts of life, like the weather, something sent by the gods or nature that you just had to endure. It was the constant background noise of existence, and it shaped everything. So, what takes their place? Well, it's a whole new set of goals, and they're ambitious, to say the least. We're not just trying to avoid disaster anymore. Nope. We're aiming for something like transcendence. Think about the leap here. We've gone from trying to survive a bad flu season to trying to defeat death itself. We're moving from just trying to find a bit of happiness to literally engineering a state of constant bliss. And the ultimate goal? Upgrading ourselves from Homo sapiens into, well, Homo Deus, from man to God. But wait, how in the world did we get here? I mean, how did these goals even start to seem remotely possible? The answer, according to Harari, is all about the philosophy that's been running the world for the last few centuries. It's called humanism, and it's the reason we believe we can do, well, anything. You know, for most of history, authority came from up there, from gods, from ancient books. Humanism came along and just flipped that script completely. It said, nope, the source of meaning and authority isn't out there in the cosmos. It's right here, inside of you. Your feelings, your experiences, your choices, that's what matters. That's what gives the universe meaning. And that idea is, without a doubt, the foundation of the world we live in today. And once you see it everywhere. I mean, think about it. Why does democracy work? Because we believe the voter knows best. Why does the market function? The customer is always right. When we say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, or tell someone to follow your heart, that's humanism in action. It all comes down to this one core idea. The ultimate source of truth is your own inner experience. So here's the really crucial takeaway from all this. In the humanist view, meaning isn't something we just find lying around in the universe. It's something we invent. It's a story we tell ourselves about how important our own experiences are. And our whole modern world, it's built on that collective story. Okay, but here's the plot twist. And it's a big one. The very science and tech that humanism encouraged, well, it's created something like a time bomb ticking away in the lab. The very system of belief that made us so powerful is now at risk of being torn down by the things it helped create. And this really is the central, explosive question of the whole book. If our gut feelings, our hearts, are the ultimate authority, what happens when something, some technology, is smarter than us? What happens when an algorithm can consistently make better choices than you can? The entire foundation of humanism starts to shake. Harari gives this a name, the Great Decoupling, and he says it's maybe the single most important thing happening in the 21st century. See, for all of evolutionary history, intelligence and consciousness were a package deal. They went together. To be smart enough to solve a tough problem, you also had to be conscious. You had to feel. But that's not true anymore. So it's really, really important we get this distinction right. Intelligence, that's just problem solving. It's about processing information, seeing patterns, calculating stuff. Consciousness, that's about feeling.
It's joy, it's anger, it's love, it's pain. It's the subjective experience of being alive. For millions of years, these two were inseparable. But now, we've managed to pry them apart. Just think about a modern algorithm. It can land a passenger jet in a storm or spot cancer on a scan better than a human doctor. That is a huge amount of intelligence. But it feels nothing. Zero. There's no stress, no fear, no sense of accomplishment. It's just processing. So if these super intelligent but totally unconscious systems get better and better than us, what happens to the value of our human intuition? So if humanism is starting to look a bit shaky, what comes next? Well, Harari suggests there's a new ideology rising to take its place, one that has zero interest in human feelings. He calls it dataism. This worldview is something else. In dataism, you're not a person with a soul. You're basically just a complex algorithm running on meat. The whole universe is just one giant data processing system. And the most important thing, the supreme value, it's not our happiness. It's not freedom. It's the efficient flow of information. And our job, our cosmic purpose, is just to generate data and feed it into the system. And what's really wild is when you look at the commandments of this new religion. Maximize data flow, connect 24/7, share everything. Sound familiar? We're already doing it. Every time we choose to trust the GPS over our own sense of direction, we're practicing dataism. The core belief is that your feelings, they're just messy data. The algorithm has access to more data, so it knows better than you do. So let's just lay it out side by side. It's a total flip. Humanism says the source of authority is inside you, your feelings. Dataism says it's the algorithm. Humanism says the highest value is your unique experience. Dataism says it's the total flow of information. In the humanist story, we are the heroes. We're the creators of meaning. In the dataist story, we're just little processors, little chips in a much, much bigger system, whose only real job is to produce data. And this leads to one of the most unsettling ideas in the book. As AI and algorithms get better at everything, driving our cars, managing our health, even writing music, what happens to all the people who used to do those jobs? Harari warns we could see the rise of a new, useless class. Now, he doesn't mean useless as people, but economically useless, politically irrelevant, just obsolete in a world that only cares about efficient data processing. So the danger here is that we're basically giving away our role as the authors of our own story. For all of history, we've been the ones holding the pen, writing the drama, creating the meaning. But if we're not careful, we might just hand that pen over to the algorithms and end up being, as Harari says, just tools, cogs in a machine we can no longer understand, let alone control. And that's where Homo Deus leaves us, with this really powerful, urgent question to think about. In our quest to become gods, to live forever and be perfectly happy, are we accidentally building a future where the things we claim to value most, things like freedom, consciousness, and what makes you, you, just don't matter anymore? The future isn't set in stone, of course, but these are the questions we absolutely need to start asking, and we need to start asking them now.